Hi, my name is Noni. I am the founder of Thermofit, and thank you for taking the time to watch this video where I'm going to share with you a few key points about Thermofit and kind of what it is, but mainly geared towards the nutrition side, the nutrition philosophy behind Thermofit, and kind of what type of eating you'll find in the programs. A lot of people reach out to me and ask what type of diet Thermofit is, and that is a very valid question. And the truth is, there's not an actual simple blanket answer, because what Thermofit is actually a combination of my experience combined with working with people and coming up with an overall approach that I have found works for most people. So I wanted to share this video with you. You may be wondering whether the Thermofit challenge is right for you or not. So I wanted to lay out about 9 clear key points for you to know about Thermofit and what is involved in the nutrition side of things, so you can decide whether or not it's right for you. So first of all, number 1 is that Thermofit is not a diet. Even if the word itself doesn't technically mean this, when we say the word diet, it automatically implies in most of our minds that it is a short-term, restrictive way to eat to achieve a result. That result usually being something that you cannot keep unless you keep doing that restrictive diet. Thermofit is about teaching long-term, balanced, non-restrictive ways to eat to achieve the goal and keep it. Number 2, Thermofit is a blend of a few well-known diets that are out there. Literally took what I liked and what I saw worked from those diets, and I left behind what I didn't agree with and what I didn't feel was healthy or sustainable. Give you a little bit of an idea, and to go into more detail with that, the main diets that I'm referring to that Thermofit was kind of based around were paleo, low carb, healthy fat, and a bit of keto in there as well. So I took things that I liked from that, I left behind what I didn't. So let's start with paleo. Paleo has an amazing approach. Eat anything that is natural, that comes with additives. There's no grains, dairy, no refined sugar. Things that I didn't like about paleo was the perception, because it's not actual to the paleo diet, but it's a common misconception that we need, for paleo to be paleo, there's a lot of meat involved. It doesn't have to be the case. So actually a lot of red meat. I don't believe we need to be eating red meat very often. I generally have about 1 to 2 times, like no more than twice a week, having red meat in the Thermofit diet. And you don't necessarily have to have meat at every meal. With low carb, healthy fat and keto, we can kind of I'll group them together for the sake. About those was that they are focused on low carb and they are focused on getting an amount of fat. Didn't focus on that I thought was important was the actual ingredients themselves. So we could still be having additives, we can still be having gluten, we can still be having like fake sweeteners. Also, a lot of the time, the fat level to be achieved was done via a lot of dairy. For having a little bit of dairy, and if dairy is something that you like to eat and don't cut out, that's fine. I'll talk more. And achieve a high level of healthy fats, not from dairy, but from avocado, from healthy oils, from nuts and seeds. Like there's a lot of other sources that we can get our fat content from. It doesn't all have to come from dairy. 3 in Thermofit is that we don't count anything except for our wins, of course. So what I mean by that is we don't count calories, we don't count macros, and depending on your individual relationship with the scales, I even encourage you to not be focusing on and counting that number as well. But that's about just eating real food and assessing how we feel from that. Specifically is not the equation to health. Calories do not focus on what nutrients you're getting, what you're fueling your body with. Our body doesn't deal in numbers. It doesn't feel that that's a good approach or a long-term approach or the healthiest approach, because it's quite easy to obsess about numbers. It's really easy to obsess about numbers. And if we are obsessing about numbers, then there's opportunity to open up for a lot of mindset shit to go on here. For example, if you're counting calories or you're counting macros, you're counting anything for that matter, if you get to the end of the week and you don't get the result that you were hoping for, you are most likely going to blame yourself for having an extra 10 grams of this or an extra 200 calories here. It's the big picture. Asked a lot, do I have the nutritional breakdown in the program? And the answer is no, because I'm literally trying to steer people away from a diet mentality and deal breaker for you. And that is fine. I want to let people know that that's not what Thermofit is about. Maybe counting calories is something that you're doing now, but maybe down the track you're sick of doing that and realize that you won't be able to do it forever, and you want to switch into just letting go of that stress and time-consuming stuff and just focus on eating real food. What is thing as a challenger, but in creating this, I have done it to a bit of a system from my background experience. So as an example, the food and the breakdown that you will find is approximately 50% of your intake coming from healthy fats, 30% coming from protein, sources of protein, plant and animal, and then the 20% left over, that's coming from carbs. And those carbs are from your fruit and vegetables. The Thermofit diet with that kind of formula, because that's what I saw worked most. And throughout the challenge, I've got that educational content that I used to take people through one-on-one in video form to teach you about what happens in the body when you consume fats, what happens in the body when you consume carbs and protein, and how to balance it to get the result that you're looking for. A massive focus of Thermofit is on the 80-20 rule. So what that means is 80% of the time you're following the Thermofit program or whatever program you're doing, and 20% of the time it's treat time, it's relax time, it's enjoy time, it's having those things that you know you can't eat every day and still get towards your goal, but you can enjoy them sometimes. I've found this to be one of the biggest differences in Thermofit and other things. Long-term, this is your lifestyle now approach, we can relax a little bit and not feel so guilty about enjoying a few things here and there. That's life. We need to do that. The fact you will find in the program 100% gluten-free, 100% grain-free, 100% refined sugar-free, 100% additive-free, depending on the things that you buy, choose, 90% free. A lot of people whole foods that are highly nutrient dense, but that doesn't mean that in that time you can't eat gluten or sugar or dairy or whatever you want. That's what that 20% time is all about. I've left it is to teach you tune with your body and responsibly. Don't eat when you're not hungry. Using the challenge as a guide will make it work for them. That looks through that educational content. It's like a 6-week course rather than a 6-week diet. The program is flexible. Leave it out or swap it for something else. Dinner time, you can still do that without making 2 meals. I support that. How to make it work while still following the program. Around and eat the same thing for breakfast every day. You can do that too. People to use this as a guide and make it work for them. And which kind of ties in with those last two is that the aim here with Thermofit is education and empowerment. To follow, I've listed out what you eat for breakfast, lunch and dinner and snacks, but that does not mean that you need to follow that 100%. I have done with those other diets and taken out the part and adjust or change or leave out those things that don't specifically suit you, because not one diet fits all. Is what long-term sustainable health looks like. Out of that, and please, if I've missed anything that you wanted to know, please get in touch. Happy to help.